My family loves my ex and keep inviting her to family get-togethers. Original post. My ex and I dated for 5 years. My family adored her, and it was assumed that we would be getting married soon. About a year ago, she broke up with me out of nowhere, saying that I was not enough of a man for her. Brutal, I know. After months of therapy, I started dating somebody new. Now, during my therapy months, my family had already invited her to certain events. My family asked me if she could still come, and because I still wanted her back, I said yes. As soon as I started to date someone new and my ex had attended her last invited event, I thought that was the end of it. Today, I found out my family invited my ex to Thanksgiving and Christmas. I thought it was a joke, but no, they love having her around. I put a stern warning that if she was invited, I would not be attending. I restated what my therapist told me, saying this was unhealthy for me and was violating my boundaries. My family doesn't care. They love her. She doesn't have much family and they want her included. My current girlfriend is obviously furious too. Every family member, including my mom and grandmother, are saying I need to treat it as if she were a friend and grow up. I don't know what to do. Any advice? Edit. Thanks to all of you for the advice. I'm gonna man up and tell them me and my girlfriend won't be attending. My family and her have already said it would be a cowardly thing to do to hide from my ex, but IG gaff. These comments reassured me this is not okay. I'm gonna take my girlfriend somewhere nice and spend Thanksgiving with her. I might even try to organize buying plane tickets and seeing her family for Christmas. I'll keep you guys updated if anything else comes of this. Comments/OP replies before reading the update. OOP on if his family knew the ex was the one who ended the relationship. OOP. They are very aware. They still think it's my fault. She had been going through a hard time and I didn't take initiative in helping her with certain things. She needed help with some stuff around her apartment. I'm not really a handyman, so I didn't offer. She never asked and she built up resentment towards me for months. That, among other things like gifts, not being thoughtful enough, and feeling like I didn't prioritize her enough, led to the breakup. My family supports her and felt I needed to step up as a man. I've already asked her to stop, and she doesn't seem interested in turning down the invitations. She doesn't have a good relationship with her family, so it's nice for her to be included. She thinks I'm being selfish. Commenter 1. Don't go. Have Thanksgiving and Christmas with only your current girlfriend. If they can't respect your boundaries, then you have to enforce them. Oh, OP. This seems to be the sentiment. It just sucks being alone for Thanksgiving. It'll just be me and my girlfriend since her family is long distance. OOP gives examples on why his family thinks he needs to step up and be a man. OOP. Her and my family feel I am not enough of a handyman. My family is mostly union and construction. I work in tech. My ex expected me to take initiative on her apartment issues, and I am just not that guy. I'm also not very confrontational, so she felt I couldn't keep her safe. Those are just two examples. I'll give you a specific example that she stated during the breakup. Her sink had broken and was leaking pretty badly, like enough to fill up a bucket every 10 minutes. Her landlord wasn't going to be available for a few days, so she called me and asked to come fix it. So I went down to fix it during the break, and seeing what was wrong with it, so this request, I'm very bad at handyman stuff. My first instinct was to offer to pay someone to look at it. She said a real man would have at least tried instead of paying someone. It wasn't just handyman stuff though. We had an incident at a bar where an old drunk guy was flirting with her. I am very non-confrontation, so I offered to go to a different bar or to tell the bouncers. She wanted me to confront him and felt I couldn't protect her. Little things like this added up in her head. Doesn't OOP still have feelings for his ex? OOP. I no longer have feelings for her. Through my therapy sessions, I learned we are just not compatible. She wanted me to be someone that I am not. She gaslit me into thinking how I am as a person was wrong, and I needed to fit her ideal version of a man. It just wasn't a healthy relationship, and I should have ended it earlier. The reason I don't want her there is because it is disrespectful to my new girlfriend. I know my family would prefer me to get back with my ex, but that's not what I want. They should respect that we are no longer together and stop inviting her. Now for the update. Hey everyone, I appreciate all the advice and kind words I got in my last post. However, I don't have a good update, to be honest. Basically, I sent a mass text message to all my family exactly how I felt. That my ex should not be at Thanksgiving or Christmas, and it was incredibly disrespectful. I told them they needed to choose between me and her. How under no circumstances would I compromise this simple request, that they were choosing my ex-girlfriend over their own son, and it was not okay. I also told my ex in a separate text that she was not welcome, and I did not care if my family invited her. My cousin messaged me on the side agreeing with me, which was nice. However, the rest of the family did not see it that way. Family members responded how selfish I was, how I knew she had nowhere to go for Thanksgiving, and that she has become part of the family. I tried to hold my ground by stating how not normal this was to invite someone's ex to Thanksgiving, but they just doubled down that she had become too close to exclude her. My dad specifically said I needed to stop being so immature, making ultimatums like a child. That message got a lot of iMessage likes in the group chat. My ex told me I was being a fucking baby about the whole thing, that this was exactly the reason she broke up with me, that I could not handle even the possibility of confrontation, and I was going to run away with my new girlfriend. I explained how not normal this dynamic was, and I told her to go back to her family and stop trying to steal mine. She just sent back, "It's not her fault, my family loves her," and stopped answering marks. I kept battling with my family over the weekend, but no one was budging. My mom had called me explaining how my ex was like a daughter to her, and my actions were breaking her heart. I asked her if she had any sympathy for me, considering my ex broke up with me, saying I wasn't man enough for her. My mom just said how my actions were proving her right, and that kind of broke me. These fights were clearly going nowhere, so I put my money where my mouth is. I decided to book a short trip with my girlfriend and take her to a really nice restaurant. I let her know, and initially she said she would like a nice getaway. However, yesterday, she asked me to come over and talk, and she said that this whole situation with my family was making her extremely uncomfortable, that she felt like she was in the middle of this battle between me, my family, and my ex. She said I was really sweet, but she couldn't be in a relationship with someone with this much family drama. I begged and pleaded with her, but she said she put a lot of thought into this and asked me to respect her decision. Oh, vida, she's going sane now. I'm fucking pathetic. I can't even set boundaries with my own family. I'm going to take the trip by myself and think some things over. I'm not looking for additional advice, somewhere to spend Thanksgiving, or even words of encouragement. I just want to be left alone. Thanks for all the advice, but clearly I need to work on myself. I think two things are clear. One, my family doesn't like me very much. True, I can be easily pushed around by people. Story 2. My sister-in-law pranked me by giving me alcohol knowing I don't drink. I feel like I'm spiraling about it. Original post? Hey, don't drink alcohol. The short answer to the reason for this is I grew up with two highly abusive alcoholic parents. It took me a lot of self-work and therapy to even be able to be in the same room as people that are drinking. When I meet new people, I just politely turn down drinks by saying something along the lines of, I don't drink. There have obviously been some instances where people ask me why, but I never go into the traumatic details. I've never had anyone push it on to me or anything. That's what makes what happened last weekend so bizarre. On the second Saturday of every month, my husband, 30, male, and his sister, 32, female, threw a cookout or something along the lines for all of their childhood friends. I've always thought it was really cool that they stayed close with so many people, since I myself moved away from home and only stayed in contact with one friend from school. I've been attending these hangouts ever since my husband and I started dating. There's never been any issues. I get along well with his friends and his sister. Last Saturday, my husband took my 11-year-old little brother out of town for a dad/son day. We're his legal guardians. I've been custody of him since I was 20. So I went to the cookout alone this time. I've done this a couple times before. It's always been fine. So my sister-in-law handed out the usual mimosas. I asked for just orange juice like always. So when I took a sip of the drink she handed me, I immediately spit it out because I could taste champagne. I turned around to my sister-in-law and said, "Oh, you must have given me your drink by mistake." When I turned, I noticed her and two of her friends laughing. I was so confused. I asked what was going on, and my sister-in-law said through her giggles, "We thought it would be funny to see how you react to alcohol since we've never seen you drink it before. You should have seen your face." I was honestly just so shocked that my only response was, "What the hell?" As they continued laughing, I just told them I was leaving. I honestly don't even remember that drive home because I was trying to keep myself from having a panic attack. When I finally got home, I just broke down crying. My husband and brother got home shortly after that, and I couldn't hide how I was feeling, even if I wanted to. My husband immediately asked me what was wrong, and I just broke down again. I hate that my brother had to see me cry. I try to keep our house as happy and safe as possible. After I put on a movie for my brother, I explained what happened to my husband. He was so mad. I've never seen him like that before. He told me to go relax with my brother, and he was going to sort everything out. I could hear him yelling at his sister on the phone. And after almost an hour, he came and sat with us and told me we wouldn't be seeing her again. And the next day, we told my mother and father-in-law. I've always been really close with them, so I wanted to confide in them, but I was obviously scared because that's their daughter, and I didn't want to talk bad about her to them. To my surprise, they were absolutely mortified and so apologetic on behalf of their daughter. I'm so glad because my little brother adores them. It would have been devastating if our relationship with them suffered because of this. So yeah, this past week has been so weird. I feel weirdly betrayed. I hate that my sister-in-law and her friends used me as some sort of entertainment for the day. I know that they don't know the trauma this triggered inside of me, but I'm just so confused on why they thought that was an okay thing to do. I also feel guilty because I don't want my husband to stop going to the cookouts and lose his time with his friends, and I don't want him and his sister to never see each other again because of me. My husband is amazing and has assured me it wouldn't be my fault if they never speak again. It's just hard not to feel that way. Don't worry though. I've had a lot of emergency therapy sessions this week, and I know I'll be okay. It was just such a bizarre thing to experience. It seems like such a small, inconsequential thing to have happened to me, but it's been a crash course on trauma, triggers, PTSD, etc. Typing it out has been so helpful. Thanks for listening to my ramblings. Pop comments. Commenter 1. What the hell would make your sister-in-law think this was acceptable? I'm assuming she didn't know why you don't drink? What if you were in recovery or something and she triggered a relapse? Going no contact with her seems like the right thing to do. I'm sorry you had to go through that, and I'm happy to hear your husband and his parents aren't coddling their daughter. I'm wondering if she has a history of stuff like this, and that's why your in-laws were so immediately apologetic. Commenter 2. Some people like your sister-in-law have no sense but have been blessed with the privilege of never having a trauma touch them. They are frivolous and unserious people. They are malicious children. Let them be frivolous and unserious people together. Grateful you have a strong support system in the form of your mother-in-law, father-in-law, and husband. Commenter 3. She seems like she would be cool with giving someone pot brownies and watching them trip out as a joke/funny. Stay away from her. That's a scary person. Oh pie. Commenter 4. In my experience, some people tend to get really weird and insistent when you say you don't drink. I get how so many cultures have ingrained social drinking into their framework and all that, but it's incredibly off-putting how many people I've encountered who get genuinely offended that you don't. Hell, you'd think people like this would be appreciated more so they don't do something moronic like attempt to drive after a night of heavy drinking. I'll never understand it. Now for the update. Thank you to everyone that left me kind comments and messages on my previous post. I'll just get right into the update. A lot of you guessed right. This isn't the first time my sister-in-law has done something like this. She is definitely what some would consider a mean girl. My husband and his parents have had multiple falling outs with her over the years, but they've been on good terms recently until she pranked me. So yeah, I could see how my husband's immediate reaction to go no contact seemed like an overreaction, but he's dealt with a lot from her in the past. I don't want to give any specific examples because they're personal to my husband and his family. Hope you all understand. So here's what happened after my last post. After talking with my therapist and my husband, I decided I wanted to message my sister-in-law. I asked her if she wanted to get lunch and talk about what happened. I wanted to explain some of my past to her, my PTSD diagnosis, and why what she did affected me so much. I just wanted this to be over and for us to come to an understanding, but she never responded. A couple of my husband's friends that were at the cookout when the prank happened called us to check in on me. They said they had no idea my sister-in-law planned that, and they never would have let it happen. That's probably why she didn't clue them in on the prank. They told me that after I left, they told her it wasn't cool. After a couple days, I just gave up hope of her messaging me back and decided to start moving on. Yesterday, my sister-in-law blew up my husband's phone. She said some pretty awful things. To summarize, it was along the lines of, "It's not my fault your wife is a say that is scared of champagne." She called me a bunch of names, from everything to B, T, H, C, and C, etc. She said she never liked me, and she wished my husband stayed with his high school girlfriend. They broke up when they were 18, by the way. My husband is 30. The worst thing she said was my husband was just doing charity by taking in a couple of orphans. You don't remember, I have custody of my 11-year-old brother, and we don't have any contact with our parents because they're abusive. Some pretty awful stuff. I was honestly just shocked. I thought we got along fine. We were never best friends or anything, but I had no idea she held this much animosity towards me. Maybe she's just embarrassed and lashing out because her parents and some of her friends berated her for it. I don't know. My husband sent just one message back to her saying he never wants to see or talk to her again, and then blocked her and her husband's numbers. He told his parents what happened, and they were furious too. And I don't know what they said to her, but they're about as done as my husband. Since I've been in therapy and have support around me, her words didn't bother me much. I know she obviously has some problems to deal with, and I'm just her latest target. The worst thing she did was bring my brother up. I'll never forgive her for that. He's not an orphan. He has two parents that love him, and I'm not either. I have in-laws that love and support me. They always have my back, even when it comes to their own daughter. And there's Lock Terminator scheduled too. He's my main shield and my main protector. But if I never see my sister-in-law again, I'd be fine with that. I truly hope one day she'll come to her senses and understand the way she treats people isn't right. We've decided to turn every second Saturday of the month into family day in place of the cookouts. I'm going to be just fine. I'm already feeling miles better than I did writing my previous post. For everyone calling me dramatic, I'm genuinely glad you don't have experience with PTSD or triggers. I don't think it's funny to give someone alcohol without their consent, even if you know the person drinks. Anyway, again, thank you for all the kind words. I hope there will be no more updates, but if anything crazy happens, I'll let you know. Irrelevant/top comments. Commenter 1. Sorry for all the conflict, but it does sound like it's working out okay. The idea of changing the cookout, get-together days into family days is a great idea. If you and or your husband are missing out on socializing with some of those friends, you guys can schedule your own times to get together with everyone. I understand why you wanted to explain more to your sister-in-law so she would understand why this was so traumatic for you. But I think it's for the best that that conversation never happened. She sounds quite cruel. I don't think she would have had a sudden attack of empathy. If anything, she may have taken info you shared with her and used it to hurt you. Sometimes we think that if someone understands better, it'll solve the problem. But when you're dealing with someone like your sister-in-law, it rarely goes that way. It's just giving them ammunition. This is something that I've had to learn myself. I think it's more common in those of us who have been victimized, perhaps especially while growing up. We want to believe that if the person just knew something/understood something better, that they would stop their bad behavior. But that's not necessarily true. And we shouldn't be kissing their ass, which is how it can sometimes come across. It's important not to give our power away. OOP, wow, this comment made me tear up. Thank you for explaining it this way. It's genuinely very helpful. 3. Commenter 2, your husband and his parents seem great. Don't feel guilty about your sister-in-law being cut off. She did that, not you. The only people you need in your life are those who support and respect you. Commenter 3, I am so happy to hear you are supported by your in-laws. I'm glad it's been as resolved as it can be. I live with PTSD and I can imagine how this might have felt. Commenter 4, duh. So pleased your husband and in-laws have your back. If she texted your husband with those nasty messages, keep them, and if it blows up further, show them.